This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. What I'm looking at today is 2020's You Should Have Left. You Should Have Left is directed by David Koepp, who worked with Kevin Bacon last on A Stir of Echoes, and I really like Kevin Bacon in these horror roles. He works really well and he seems to have an intuitive grasp of this material. Though the thing is, this is not a great movie. It's not bad, but it's not great either. It revolves around Kevin Bacon, who is, if I recall, a writer? I could be wrong on that, but in any case, it's not at all crucial. And he's in the midst of a second marriage to an actress, and they have a daughter as well, and the actress's job sends her to Ireland, where Bacon rents them a house, in which case chaos ensues. And this is an odd movie in some ways. For instance, as I said, it takes place, the bulk of it, in Ireland. But there is no reason for this movie to be in Ireland, other than, I imagine, tax breaks, because it's not relevant at all to the story. So, why are they there? And the thing is, Ireland, like most places actually, has a rich history of folklore, and this could have been used in this movie, and yet they don't touch that at all. Which makes me wonder, once again, why are you in Ireland? So that kind of was mildly off-putting. This could have been filmed anywhere, literally in the world. In fact, it could have been all filmed in California and been perfectly valid, because it doesn't make any real use, other than in a physical sense, of Ireland. It just doesn't. It's the oddest thing. And as I said earlier, Bacon does really well with this material, though I enjoy the darkness more, if only because it works on the basis that this house is designed seemingly by the devil or some such entity, and it catches evil people and it doesn't let them go. Kind of like a really awesome looking roach motel. But the thing is, when you learn what Kevin Bacon has actually done, it isn't great, but it's not that bad in the scheme of things. I mean, it's not like he massacred 50 people. What he did is reprehensible, but on a scheme of terrible acts, it doesn't rate that high. And I don't know if that's just because I'm jaded, which is hard not to be in this world that we live in, though it seemed an unduly cruel thing to do to somebody, even though Kevin Bacon's character is not a great one. The idea that Koepp works with, and I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing David Koepp's name, but in any case, the idea he works with is interesting, but nothing is really fleshed out. Events seem to happen without really knowing why they're happening per se. It's almost as if the house is a manifestation of Bacon's guilt over the act that he committed, which I won't mention. Though if you watch 10 minutes of the movie, it's fairly obvious. It is like no real mystery. So if Koepp had taken that perspective, that this is all happening because of his guilt over this act, then I think the movie would have worked a lot better. But instead, it takes a more supernatural tact, and it just kind of, it's limp, for lack of a better term. As I said, it's not a bad movie by any stretch, but it's just not that great. Which brings me to the whole streaming experiment anyway. Now keep in mind, since COVID-19 has been plaguing us, a lot of studios have been releasing movies directly to streaming. Now the problem with this is that they have what they call a home premiere or something to that effect, and they'll charge you something in the ballpark of $20 to see this movie, or a lot of other movies. I think Disney Plus is charging $29 to view Milan. And my problem with this is, You Should Have Left is not worth $20 to pay to see it, that is. I don't care when it came out. I don't care if you're seeing it the first day it appears on streaming. This movie is overpriced at $20. And so what I'm getting at is the value proposition that accompanies such things is really off kilter. I mean, if I would see this movie in theaters, I would likely see it in a matinee, which is to say, I'd be paying something in the ballpark of $12. And that could be literally the day after it premieres. So this home premiere stuff, I think oftentimes is being used to fill the pockets of studios, as opposed to being a fairly priced value proposition. And I get it that movies are expensive to produce, though that's not my fault. I had nothing to do with that. So if studios choose to spend $200 million, $300 million, which is excessive and unusual, though it does happen, on a feature film, that's not my problem. And it will obviously seek to recoup that investment. That is also not my problem. And I am not going to pay $30 or $20 to see movies like this because, frankly, they aren't worth that. And I don't say that to criticize the director, the actor, the writer, anything like that. Only that simply these movies are not worth that price. So it's a bit problematic for me. Though, back to You Should Have Left. And it's, as I said, it's not great, but it's clever and it's interesting at times. It's worth seeing, especially since you don't have to pay such an insane price to do it. But it kind of misses the mark, I hate to say. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and review. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down below. And since you're there, consider a like or a follow. Peace.